In April 2026, two frontier class AI models shipped in the same 24 hours. One came from a company worth over $100 billion. The other was trained for under 6 million. Yesterday, OpenAI released GPT 5.5, codenamed Spud. This morning, DeepSeek quietly dropped V4 onto Hugging Face with fully open weights, and the gap between them on the benchmarks that matter if you're actually building is smaller than you'd expect. I'm going to show you what actually changed this week, what the commentary got wrong, and what any of it means if you're shipping product with this stuff on Monday morning. Let's start with GPT 5.5. OpenAI is pitching it as, their words, the last major milestone before artificial general intelligence. Set the framing aside for a second and look at what the model actually does. 6 weeks after GPT 5.4, it's sharper per token, cheaper to run, and this is the part that matters, meaningfully better at multi step autonomous tasks: writing code, researching the web, navigating software, chaining tools together without a human in the loop on every step. The pitch basically is, we built a worker, not a smarter chatbot, a model you hand a task to. It's rolling out now to ChatGPT Plus, Pro, Business, Enterprise, and Codex. API access lands this week. Running on NVIDIA's newest GB200 rack scale hardware. Mark Chen, OpenAI's chief research officer, says it shows meaningful gains on scientific and technical research workflows. Translation: the model can hold a plan over more steps without losing the thread. Now, here's the part the headlines missed. 12 hours later, DeepSeek dropped V4. 1 trillion parameters. Mixture of experts architecture, a 1 million token context window as standard, and the weights are under an Apache 2.0 license. That means anyone, anywhere, can download it and run it. The training cost, if the reported number holds up, was about $5.2 million. OpenAI reportedly spent north of $100 million on GPT-5. Anthropic's annual compute budget runs into the billions. DeepSeek just matched a frontier closed model for the price of a house in San Francisco. On agentic coding benchmarks, V4 is reportedly neck and neck with Claude Opus 4.6. On math, STEM, and competitive coding, it tops every open weights model that has been publicly evaluated. The gap isn't gone, but it's smaller than anyone at a closed lab wants to say out loud. And here's what that changes for anyone actually building. If you're running an enterprise with data residency rules, you can now self host a frontier adjacent model under a permissive license. If your unit economics never penciled out on Opus or GPT pricing, they might now. If you're a fine tuning shop, you have a new base model this weekend.
Step back. In the last 6 weeks alone, OpenAI shipped 5.4 and 5.5. Google shipped Gemini 3.1 Pro. Anthropic shipped Opus 4.7. DeepSeek shipped V4. Qwen shipped 3.6. That's frontier model releases on a software update cadence. And the consequence for anyone actually building is not pick the best model, it's build so you can swap. Your eval harness, your prompts, your tool integrations, all of it needs to be model agnostic because the model you picked 6 weeks ago is not the model you want today. The other piece that didn't get enough attention, Google added MCP, the Model Context Protocol, to its new deep research agent powered by Gemini 3.1 Pro. When Google puts your protocol in a flagship product, that's the conversation ending. MCP is the agent plumbing now. If you're building agents and you haven't looked at it yet, that's your weekend. One more piece of theater. Sam Altman went on a podcast earlier this week and called Anthropic's new cybersecurity framed model fear based marketing. It's the first direct shot between these two labs in months, and it tells you how the positioning is hardening. OpenAI is selling capability and velocity. Anthropic is selling safety and security posture. The underlying models are closer than the marketing suggests. The purchase decision increasingly comes down to which story your procurement team wants to tell. If you're building, here is the short list for this weekend. 1. Rerun your hardest agent eval on GPT 5.5. 2. Rerun the same eval on DeepSeek V4 the moment an inference provider hosts it, which will be days, not weeks. 3. Learn MCP. 4. If you aren't already tracking performance on your data, not on public benchmarks, start Monday. One more thing worth filing away. Andre Karpathy posted something earlier this month that's quietly been making the rounds. He said he's moved from using AI to write code to using AI to curate his thinking. He dumps raw material into a folder, points a model at it. The model builds and maintains an interlinked wiki, writes the articles, connects the ideas, categorizes the concepts. His, on a single topic, is at about 400,000 words and 100 articles, growing weekly. When the person who taught a generation how to think about neural networks shifts from AI writes my code to AI curates my thinking, pay attention. That is a leading indicator for where power user workflows go next. So here's the frame. In 24 hours this week, OpenAI shipped the strongest agentic model they have ever made. An open source lab matched it for the price of a condo. Google quietly standardized the agent protocol, and a bunch of us spent the week arguing about AGI. The most important thing that happened this week is that the cost of frontier intelligence fell off a cliff. What you build on top of it is the only part of this story you control. I'll see you in the next one.